I hate to break it to you, I really do, but you're not finding your soulmate online. I'm sorry. Hey guys, what's up? It's Emergency and welcome back to my channel. That was intense, I know. And before we get started, I do have to say that this video is not to call anyone out. Well, maybe a little bit, and also maybe myself. And I already know, I can already tell what the comments are going to be. I can already see you being up in arms if you did happen to find the love of your life on like Hinge or Bumble or a dating app. And to that, I say that is amazing. That is awesome. I love you. I love that for you. However, you are the exception and not the rule, babes. Which we're in a world where we're both platonically and romantically lonely and have an abundance of options in things like dating apps, that the fact that the actual success rate of these said dating apps is so low is equal parts insane and insidious, considering the fact that that is the whole promoted purpose of these apps. And just to be clear, this is not a ooh boo dating apps video, because I think that we as the internet have talked about that enough. And whether you may or may not know, people can be disappointing regardless of where you meet them. However, based off of internet discourse and just interpersonal conversations, the end result of online dating is swinging predominantly negative. And young people, especially Gen Z, are becoming increasingly disillusioned with dating as a whole, and just generally across the board in terms of sexuality. Somehow, somewhere along the lines of our innovation and our quest for modern technology and future solutions to current problems, dating apps and also just modern social media have become the most prevalent way and easiest accessed way to dating. But I think as internet conversation, as just general conversations have shown, I think we've all come to the conclusion that these apps and social media are not conducive to building actual, tangible, real connections. We're going to be talking about you for a second. And by you, I mean our generation and how our generational social behaviors have contributed to this as well. And I know for certain I'm also guilty for some of these. So let's actually break some of this down. So while I did just say that this is not a solely dating apps are bad video, we do have to talk about dating apps a little bit to frame this conversation. And I think to get this conversation going, the main problem with dating apps is the fact that, as one TikToker has stated, dating apps in general will have you meeting people that you were never meant to meet.
Dating apps will have you meeting people that you were never meant to meet. And I was like, what? It makes so much sense, because I've had the most diabolical relationships from dating apps. And this is my personal opinion. And it hit me because I'm like, you're right. These men were men that I most likely wouldn't have never met in the wild, would have never crossed paths with, that were just plucked out of the internet and put into my life. And if you think about it, that is a crazy way to try to find love. And my therapist also said, because I was talking about dating apps, and she never tells me what to do, but she was kind of like, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, trusting an app to find the love of your life is kind of crazy.
And I've been thinking about this a lot when it comes to like my own dating life. And that's one of the main reasons why I don't use dating apps anymore, because there definitely was an era where I was on the apps and I was on like Hinge or whatever, what have you. And I actually go ahead and meet them and I'm like, we have nothing in common for real. It's like one of those things where like, if we didn't meet on this app, I don't think that we would have ever met up or even interacted in just like an everyday life. Like dating apps will show you people that live in your city, your town, even in your neighborhood who you've like never seen in real life before. And that's where I feel like meeting people in person out in the wild is just peak, is just so much better, because while yes, there are filters in dating apps that allow you to sort by your interests and to have things in common, you never really know what's real and what's fake, especially given trends like the whole performative man epidemic of men essentially cosplaying the whole man written by a woman trope, drinking matcha, listening to Leve, reading up on the latest feminist literature. I know that trend is just for jokes, but like also it is kind of real with how the state of dating is. And like there's something about meeting someone in person where like at the very least you have that commonality of like, okay, you both like going to this very specific coffee shop, especially if you're both regulars. So you have the same taste in coffee and you can build off of that and go from there. Because those commonalities through interests or at least like social sphere links are important, no matter how small they may be. Like whether or not it's y'all going to the same cafe or y'all both having a mutual friend that threw a party and you're meeting at a party. Ooh, that just sounds so right. I love that. Sorry. Or you both happen to care about community and meet from volunteering together at some food distribution. There's just like that base level of like, okay, we go to the same spaces, we care about the same things. And I just think that speaks more to the possibility of compatibility and of connection. Because again, I keep saying this, but at the base level, it shows at the very least overlapping interests and at best like similar core values, which is arguably one of the most important parts of connection and of relationships and finding your soulmates. And this is not to say that meeting in person is the only option, nor is it to say that like the people that you meet in person won't and can't be the reincarnation of Satan themselves, because shocker, not everyone has great intentions and or is meant to be in your life. Like, where did my spiritual psychosis girlies? But like the demons could be everywhere. But there's just something so like, I genuinely would have never met you under any other circumstance outside of the lens of like a dating app, and specifically with romantic intentions. That very well can be what enables some of the behaviors that we've been seeing that aren't really the best of us, because it perpetuates the whole lack of liability. Like, it kind of gives and possibly contributes to the whole I don't owe anyone anything agenda that we've been seeing so much. And this is before we even get into the nefarious paywalls of it all. And also, to address the elephant in the room, I did change. But like, not to hop in the technology ruled by people in power is evil bag of it all. But in this case, it just seems to be true. Algorithms read your preferences and match your compatibility just to pluck those people up and place them in Rosedale. Meaning, if you want a chance to find love and go on a date with someone that is the most well-presenting and most algorithmically compatible, or just genuinely your type to a T, you gotta cough up the coins, babes, because love isn't for the poor, apparently. I mean, like, are we shocked that companies are keeping things like love behind a paywall in the society that we currently live in? No. But it is sad that we've been able to capitalize and commodify even the possibility of finding connection, especially in a time where people are so desperate for genuine connections to begin with. And it's ever so clear that the powers that be will try to milk every last cent out of you, even at the detriment of the general public. And I mean, hey, at the end of the day, these dating apps are all businesses. Whether they want to outwardly admit it or not, they are there at the end of the day to make a quick buck. They're there to make money. Because if they did not make money, they would no longer be running their app. And sure as hell wouldn't be charging you $15 a month for a premium version of their dating app. So if they have to use the guise of finding a partner, finding connection, or to grab a couple dollars out of you, they can and they will. Also, something sort of on the lines of this topic, but like not really. Something interesting that we found in research for this video was the fact that there are actually some dating apps seemingly paying regular TikTok users to promote their app in a very interesting kind of way. Like, you have videos upon videos of people using the exact same block of text with like the same kind of shocked expression, essentially promoting this one dating app, with the text on screen saying something along the lines of, every time I re-download Hinge, it's just a reminder that these apps aren't about dating anymore. They're about paywalls and pushing premium features. Like, why am I paying to just have a conversation? I deleted it for good and switched to a personality-based app where I actually meet people who want to be there. So like, clearly that reads as an ad, and if it's not clocking to you that that's an ad, look at the 3 to 4 other videos with that exact same blurb of text in the exact same format. A little interesting to see that that app is allegedly paying people to make ads like that without disclosing explicitly that that is an ad. But that's neither here nor there. The point here being that clearly people are frustrated with the paywalls in dating apps right now, and it's seeming like other apps are trying to do anything in their power to try and capitalize off of this moment of people being frustrated with it, even at the risk of seeming a little grifty. But now, since we're on the topic of dating apps, I kind of want to do a little fun segment, a little something different actually, if you're kind of down to clown. I thought it'd be fun to kind of go through the app store and see exactly what the state of dating apps and online dating is, just by seeing what's out there for people. And I feel like we're gonna be a little shocked. I think we're gonna be a little gagged. I think maybe a little disgusted, but this could be fun, right? Let's see what the scene is giving right now. First up, starting strong, the app Hunch. You heard me right, Hunch. Wild babe aside, Hunch is a self-proclaimed personality-based dating app where you answer prompts instead of photos. Which, okay, period, kind of sounds like a Hinge dupe, but like, let's continue. Their advertising here has buzzwords like done swiping, try vibing. It's giving compatibility. See how you vibe instantly, and no more boring openers. I'm just like seeing here how like everyone here is white. You know, then that's not like a problem for real. But you know how like usually on dating apps, they have like a pretty like diverse, at least set of models for their ad campaigns to show like, oh wow, this app is for everybody. Anyone of all backgrounds and gender appropriations and the pronouns can be on this app. But they're like, no, this one's not for all of that at all, at least through their marketing. And I'm looking here at the reviews and they're not looking great. A 3.7 with some of the main titles here being only a little I would change. 1 star, Mass Majora was not having a good time here, said not good. Others saying serious issues, not great, good idea, terrible execution. And another scam app. Ooh. And the thing about Hunch, if you wanted to know more about the app without having to, as one person puts it, download another scam app, the only other real information you can find on this app is through all of the paid advertisements as they have going on TikTok. It's very similar to the stuff we were just talking about before, which I mean, like, period, having like a TikTok marketing budget is tea, but like, allegedly, this is not going back into the app. The name of this app itself is unfortunate at best, only because it is seemingly counterintuitive. Being named Hunch, but also having the main tagline be intentional dating and real connection. You know, Hunch kind of gives me the same vibes as Grindr. And one thing we all know about Grindr, well, maybe not all of us, I know there are allies watching, but for the girls, if there's one thing we know about Grindr is that there is nothing intentional or real on that app, okay? You don't go on that app to date, you don't go on that app to fellowship, you don't go on that app to build community, you go on that app to do all that nasty stuff. So really seeing the app's name like this makes you inquire, is this intentional? Did they purposely name this app something subversive, something akin to a double entendre to get the clicks? Because when you first read the name Hunch, you think it is a hookup app, but then you read further and you're like, oh wait, the advertising is really targeting people who are trying to get out of situationships and get into something real. And apparently, polite. And of course, to cap off this app review, how could we possibly forget the weekly or monthly subscriber fees? Right now, they're sitting around $9.99 a week or $29.99 a month. Ooh, a steal. That we just love spending more a month on dating apps than we do streaming services, because clearly that's what we all need. For fairness sake, I do want to say that there is a limited free version, but according to comments under the app, you only get a few actual swipes before you're prompted to the paid version. Okay, Hunch. Sound off in the comments if you're a fan of Hunch. Then we have another app that's more intentionally spicy called Down. Ooh. And the app logo here really tells you what vibe the app is going for. And I'm really just kind of gagging over these screenshots. Like the first one being like, shh, it's a secret. You already know where this is going when they use the term open-minded. Because what do you mean over 16 million open-minded people? Open-minded to what? What exactly is there to be open-minded about? Whenever I hear open-minded, I think of that one TikTok of like that Hyundai boy.
I put my number, so call me if you're open-minded.
This app essentially presents you with two options. Either get down or get dates. And yes, that is the terminology they use, get dates. Okay. I think we all should aspire to either get down or get date. Like, hey mamas, you trying to get date or what? Like, what's good mamas? Like, why'd I turn into a stud? Like, what? I think what's really funny about this app is the fact that like their description makes it seem like you can kind of get the best of both worlds. That you can be serious and locked in or just like down and flirty. But like the name of the app, it's Down. Like if you wanted to be serious, you'd go somewhere else, you know? Like I don't know why these apps are so afraid to say that they just want to be the straight grinder. Because again, I know a lot of straight friends that say that they want that. And clearly there's a market for it, but like just don't pretend to be something you're not, you know? Like again, I hate to keep going back to it, but like if you're saying that 16 million people on your app are open-minded, the mind is not the only thing open on that app, okay? But let's move on. Next, we have HUD. And this, okay, I'm seeing a trend here in the apps on the App Store right now. Maybe I'm starting to understand the issue a little bit more. So looking at their App Store ads, as well as what I'm seeing on their website, this is clearly the next Christian mingle. I'm seeing something very holy about these fuzzy handcuffs on screen. The eggplant in the ring here is really just giving me like the commitment to the vegetation of Christ. But hey, on their website, they do have queer people. So period, this is our first inclusive hookup app. I mean, Christian mingle app that we've seen so far, so I'm loving this. But looking more at this app, I have more questions. Like, why is it trying to be a blog? And like also like a therapy speak blog at the same time as being a hookup app? Like they're reposting articles from psychologists and academics that have to do with the self and like intimacy. And like, who's reading all that? Like, period, good for you for sharing resources, but like, who is reading all this? I'm sorry. Is anyone out there on HUD? Like, what and who is this app for? Like, this is truly the exemplification of thought daughter and thought daughter, you know? It's truly the best of both worlds. I'm kind of gagging at this. I kind of love this. Then we have an app that's a little more interesting, also a little bit more relevant, I'd say. And this is the Riz app. And this one's fun because this is like modern solutions to modern problems. Like, guys, like, yo, get this. You don't even have to do the dating anymore. Courting, flirting, texting, That's a world of the past. Why would you burden yourself with that when you could use Riz AI dating assistant to do the flirting and texting for you? Like, we're actually losing recipes and it's getting spooky. And the fact that I think Riz is like the most popular app out of these is telling me a lot and has me looking at a lot of y'all a little sideways, a little crazy, if I am being honest. Because what do you mean you're uploading pictures of your text message threads or also screenshots of like your dating profile and their dating profile to get Riz AI to come up with conversation topics, text messages, and all of that for you? We've already seen enough of people falling in love with AI. Like, we already got that one lady from TikTok suffering from AI-induced psychosis where she fell in love with her AI. Like, what? We don't need to go further in this. Like, dating apps are already so low effort on the dating spectrum. And like, the only work that you have to do in the early stages of dating is to text someone back. What do you mean you can't even do that? This is so incredibly short-sighted because at the end of the day, if this all goes well, right? Like, the Riz app works, you get your partner falls in love with you. Are you going to be using AI for the rest of your relationship to text each other, to communicate with each other? Because AI is not you, you know? Your potential partner is falling in love with the AI version of you, not you. So when it comes time in person and you're actually talking and your sense of humor isn't the same as whatever your Riz AI dating assistant is giving you, like, what now? And I'm sorry, getting back to the app, the description for what this app is actually incredibly unserious. You need to hear this. With Riz, you can upload screenshots of your conversations with your matches and even your match's bio and receive instant, witty replies tailored to your unique situation. But get this, Riz isn't just a tool for online dating, it's also great for conversations with friends or family. Okay, that's interesting. So it's just like a general GPT response thing to tell you how to talk to anybody. Little spooky if you're using it for all forms of communication, but okay, work. It's also clear that this is tailored more so towards younger people because a lot of the language and a lot of the issues and pain points that this app is trying to fix are those that are very common with younger people, specifically like teenagers, kids, and early young adults. So it's a little spooky, especially for like the younger people, if like they're just used to using the Riz app for all responses growing up, what that's going to do later on in life. But you know, that's neither here nor there as something that is both here and there. I just can't get over the fact that they actually have a line in there that says, the more you use Riz, the better your Riz responses gets. Like, this one isn't explicitly a dating app, but like, it does need to be hung up in the same way that dating apps do. And then just a few more because I feel like we're starting to get the point here. Some rapid fire ones. They have an app called Tagged that lets you live stream your dates. Really Black Mirror-ish to live stream and also have other perspectives in real time while you're dating, like what in the Love Island. There's Cougar D, which, ooh, Sugar Mama Central if you're into that. And Wink, which is essentially a dating app Threads dupe, which is a dupe of Twitter. So a double dating dupe where the app is allegedly filled with bots to begin with. So yeah, the online dating sphere right now, not looking the best. And truly this list could keep going on and on and on because there are just that many options with that many of them not being the best. There's truly a dating app for everything, but unfortunately most of them are complete wastelands in terms of actual people using them and are just usually filled with bots. And if this doesn't illustrate how connecting and intimacy in dating are packaged, appified, and commodified, I don't know what will. Now we've had our dating app conversation, it's time to actually talk about some of the real stuff that's contributing to why you will not find your soulmate online. I know I say that and some of y'all are cuddled up so smugly and snugly with your significant other that you met on Hinge, just laughing, rubbing your feet together knowing, ooh, he can't be talking about me. Well, in that case, you're right. You gagged me a bit. I'm not talking about you. And if for whatever reason that is you and this really niche call out applies to you, please comment. Let me know. I want to know exactly how many of y'all are out there. And I love for you to gag me a little bit. I would love for you to prove me wrong, but I fear I won't be. So yes, dating apps aren't and should not be the be-all end-all of dating and meeting people. But I feel like as a society, we've definitely moved more and more towards not having as many conducive ways of meeting and getting to know people in real life, especially when it comes to Gen Z. And it seems, unfortunately so, but like the pinnacle of dating right now is through meeting someone online or meeting someone through a dating app. And that truly can be attributed to many different factors, which we've talked about many times on this channel before. With the first one being, say it with me now, I know we like to blame everything on 2020, but really, truly, we don't really talk about how bad and how transformative for the better and worse we were as a generation because of it. Because I think I speak for all of us when I say that we all had a quarantine little thing during lockdown and the time after that. Ooh, you said, who's everybody? You mean to say you didn't? Oh, Well, you lucked out, Diva. Because I'll tell you one thing, all those quarantine situationships or relationships did not work out, okay? During many of our formative years, we were kind of forced into having these long distance, or at least virtually distant relationships with people. Or we really didn't get the chance to court in real life, didn't get the chance to date in real life, because those spaces where we would do that weren't open and available to us. And instead, we turned to tools that were already in existence to help us with that sort of thing, with that being dating apps and social media. Unfortunately, it seemed that a lot of that has stuck even after the world has opened up. And I think a reason behind that has to do with number 2, again, a common topic on this channel, the loss of the third spaces.
People talk about like we've lost third spaces. We've lost community-centered dating. I think losing that has devastated dating for our generation. Like if we were living in 1989, and I said, oh my God, I really want a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Like, I hate being single. You would go, oh, I might have someone for you. Like, let me get back to you. Whereas now, if I say that,
I literally said, get back on Hinge.
Yeah, you would say, get back on Hinge.
Because, like, where are we meeting people in real life nowadays? Whether it's the lack of actual third spaces to hang out or know where to hang out, or the lack of time from the other 2 spaces that you got going on to enjoy a third space and to really enjoy dating, times are tough when it comes to wanting to court and meet people organically. And we're witnessing in real time the decline of these third spaces, or at least spaces where people can coexist and mingle that don't require an entrance fee, don't involve some kind of ticketed experience where you can go to a singles mixer or go to like a day party like an Everyday People or whatever would have you to meet people your age that are out in public just living life. And it really makes you wonder, if everyone is struggling to find third spaces, where the baddies at?
As a therapist, I get clients all the time who are on these dating apps and they complain about dating app fatigue. And the best people I know who are single are not on dating apps. You know, the people who are on dating apps, they're looking for low effort because that's the whole point. It's convenience. And these apps teach you to be very outcomes driven and to force things that are not organic.
This TikTok makes a great point in the whole conversation around low effort love. And I think that's a big issue around why people aren't finding the love of their lives online. Like the whole point of dating apps is that they're pretty low effort, pretty easy to do. You can do it passively while you're on the way to work, while you're on a walk, wherever, what have you. And it's so easy to swipe through different dating profiles, whether you're attracted to them or not based off their appearance or like the few things that they put on their profile. And it's also pretty low lift and easy to DM somebody in like the grand scheme of like dating and courting and all that. And this pattern of behavior on dating apps trains us to bias towards what's easy and what's convenient. But the thing about dating, the thing about love, the thing about building connection is that it's anything but easy. These are not easy, low lift things. To build and maintain a connection and to build and maintain a love is a very difficult thing. And I think our tendency to lean towards and seek ease in relationships is heavily due to how we've been trained to see dating through the lens of online dating, where things are easier and more low lift. It's like the whole concept of people online saying like, oh, if you feel like things are difficult early on in a relationship, then you should just leave instead of actually working through it. And I mean, like, I get that sentiment 100% when things are dangerous or unsafe or manipulative or whatever. But like, if it's just like a conversational thing, y'all are having conflict over things that you can just talk out or like work through, then you should do that. And it doesn't warrant you completely cutting off that connection. And also doing that is not you settling. That's you becoming closer to someone. That's you forming a stronger connection with someone and you both forming a better understanding of each other as people. That's that connection, that's that love, and that's that soulmate-ness that everyone is searching for. Like, I hate to say it, I really do. Like, just because you find someone that agrees with everything that you say and has the exact same outlook on everything and y'all never argue, does not always mean that they're your soulmate. That could mean that they're your yes man. Like, sometimes strong and meaningful connection does come from conflict and does come from things not being easy. And I think in times like these where we're already struggling to build things like community and making friends, I'm unsure whether or not a romantic connection is where people should be leaping to first. Like, people are yearning to be loved, people are yearning to find their soulmate, and I completely get that because that is a amazing feeling and something that I feel like everyone should experience. But like, you should experience community and friendship first, in my opinion. Because and this might be a hot take, I don't know. I don't think you can be a good partner unless you know how to be a good friend first. Because at the foundation of every relationship, every romantic relationship can and should be a friendship. And if you don't know how to be a good friend, how the hell are you gonna be a good partner? Like, yeah, sure, you can put it down. Y'all can get nasty, but like, what happens after that? What happens if the talk isn't cheap and it is what it is? Like, what happens after y'all towel off and the room stink? How are y'all gonna decide who cleans it up and how? Y'all can't communicate, people. I'm sorry. That was crazy and out of pocket. but it was not a lie. It was very real. I'm sorry. There's also like the whole conversation around like unlimited options and how we all see people as options all the time. And because of the hypervisibility that we have into people's lives and the apparent access that we have to so many people allows us to think that we can treat people more disposably and like there will always be more fish in the sea when like that isn't always necessarily true. I saw someone commented somewhere something about like the grass is only greener where you water it, something like that. Essentially meaning that like the grass is never truly greener on the other side. It's greener where you are putting time and effort to taking care of the grass to make it greener, which is an analogy for relationships and dating and all that. Whoever commented that, you ate that, you were tea. I think they quoted like J. Cole or something. I am so sorry. But like that's real. In the world of online dating, it's increasingly easy to access the idea of people, easy to ghost people, easy to meet people that we are never meant to cross paths with, easy to catfish, lie, and to grift. And it just sucks that this is the space that we have to do that. Like, I think this TikTok comment perfectly emphasizes the intersection in the environment of dating apps and our social behaviors because, like, the lack of factors like accountability and care for one another just have people jumping from conversation to conversation without having people invest too much into each other. And this kind of brings me to this concept of online dating that we have where we kind of feign closeness through texting, the concept of like wanting to be known without having to build any form of true connection. And that's like one of my main gripes about like modern dating is that like people say that they want love, they want connection, but really when you look at actions versus words, what they really want is a texting buddy, someone to text with every day, someone to flirt with, pass the time with, but like never actually meet up with in person. Because you ever had an experience where you matched with someone or you met someone and you all were texting pretty consistently, but the second you want to set up a date to meet up in person, it's crickets. They never want to respond. Suddenly they do not know you exist. Yeah, I call those time leeches. Time leeches. They do nothing but your time and energy and give you nothing in return. No connection, no developing of your bond, just words and yap. Again, it's this feigned or faked closeness that you have from like this parasocial relationship you build through texting that never actually gets to become a real connection because they're not actually looking for that. They just want someone to fill the space with and aren't actually emotionally available enough or really into you and themselves that much to want to build a real connection. Like, why would you go on a dating app and not actually want to date? Like, if you really wanted to go on an app just to fool around, go on Hunch, go on HUD, go on any of the apps we mentioned today because those are much better spaces for you if you are not trying to be serious. And this might be like internet lore or just like a fan theory from like my POV, but it kind of seems like millennials have a not much easier time, but like better luck on dating apps and with online dating than Gen Z does. And if you are a millennial watching and you do date online, like let me know, has that worked out for you in the past? Does it work out for you now? Or do you kind of see some of these issues? Because I kind of want to see what this divide is. Kind of speaking to this generational split, I think one reason behind why we see Gen Z have such a harder time finding success online dating is because of what I like to call the Gen Z urge to find a soulmate and to be loved deeply without really wanting to do anything on our parts to obtain and maintain that. No shade. It's the concept of like wanting to receive without giving. It's why we see the loneliness epidemic going on right now. People want the village without being a villager. People want the community without being a community member. People want the love and connection without providing the love, emotional intelligence, communication, and consistency required to have that love and to have that soulmate. Like, I think it's so natural and so valid for us to want to feel loved and want people to see us for who we are, flaws and all, and to still love us, even if we haven't reached that point for ourselves yet. But again, we see rhetoric about that all the time, but we rarely see this rhetoric from people wanting to give that to someone else. Like, I see so many TikToks romanticizing, like, I just want someone to love me the way I want to be loved and love me unconditionally, but I never see someone talk about, oh, I want to love someone through their flaws and all. I want to love them the way they want to be. Like, it's never on the reverse, it's always receiving and not necessarily giving. And I think, honestly, this just came to mind. And I think a disconnect that comes from that kind of plays into the whole like Gen Z is super punitive of it all. We're like, do we even know how to love someone through their flaws and all when we as a generation are so quick to be so carceral with the way that we look at people? We don't want to see people through their flaws because we hold their flaws against them actively and use those as reasons not to connect with them, not to want to move forward with them, and to kind of exile them from our lives and the lives of others. And again, never talking about things that are dangerous or super problematic. I am talking about like behaviors that you personally don't like, behaviors that you get icked out by, and not wanting to tolerate it, not really be vulnerable, empathetic with the person at the time. Like, how are you going to say that you want someone to love you flaws and all when you run at the first flaw that you see in others? Sorry to clock, but like, it needs to be said. And again, I'm not saying this to be like holier than thou, being like above any of this, because girl, this is a self-insert. I'm talking about me too. There's a reason there is no ring on this finger, okay? Then we have the whole like lover boy, lover girl of it all. And this one really is a self-insert where like you have people online coming on saying like, oh, I'm a lover boy or I'm a lover girl, but like always end up chasing someone emotionally unavailable. And we really do have to take some accountability in this, because if you find yourself constantly chasing after situationship after situationship after situationship, and the theme here is that like it's not working because the person is emotionally unavailable, the person is just distant, or like you feeling like you want more and more and more and want that validation. Like, are you really a lover or are you too emotionally unavailable? And kind of love putting yourself in that chase or in that turmoil, knowing that you're not going to get what you want or what you say you want. Right. Now let's talk about limerence. I love talking about limerence because limerence be running me down, okay? Sorry, that was aggressive, but I meant that.
Oh, he's so kind and funny and nice and sweet. You're kind and funny and nice and sweet. Who is he? You don't even know him.
Do you ever find yourself crushing on someone, but not just crushing on someone, obsessively crushing on someone to the point where you have intrusive thoughts about them and it gets really intense and you don't know how to control it? Well, I'm going to teach you about limerence. What's the difference between love and limerence? The reality is that with limerence, it is obsessive and it is often not reciprocal, whereas love is patient and it is often accepting and reciprocal.
Someone online said a crush is just a lack of information, and that really shifted something in me metaphysically, because limerence is the obsessive feeling that you get on a crush where you just can't stop thinking about them. And maybe you already start planning future travel with them, future plans with them, despite y'all only having one conversation or a few conversations at that. Like, it's like the whole delusion, the yearning of it all that we tend to fall for when we're just starting to meet someone. Well, actually, sorry, I used the wrong word, because that's one of the main things here. People confuse yearning with like limerence all the time. Y'all aren't real yearners for real. Like, when you yearn, you actually have something to go off of. Limerence is just your headcanon. You're just making stuff up. Like, when you're yearning for someone, there is a potential that they know you are yearning for them and they might be yearning for you back. Limerence, they might not even know you exist. They might not be able to tell you from a can of paint, and I am so sorry. But let's talk about soulmates, because that's what this video is about. It's not crazy to understand why we might want a romantic partner and feel like we might need one. This is the messaging that we've received since a very young age. Like, the majority of our media as youth all revolved around like finding the one, finding your soulmate, finding your prince charming, your princess, your whatever, your other half, love at any cost. And like, we see the result of that, because I think in modern times we see people putting romantic relationships on a pedestal above any other form of connection, over friendships, over family, over whatever. But I think at a time like now where we are experiencing such loneliness, that like we should care more about our friends and understanding that like not all soulmates need to be romantic relationships. It can very well be that your soulmate may just be your friend, and that's okay. It does not need to be your life romantic partner. Your friends can be your soulmates. Like, once you start caring about friendships in the same way that we have been socialized to think and care about dating and relationships, the quality of life, babes, will skyrocket. I'm sorry. And if you're like, okay, cool, whatever, is there such thing as like this fantastical romantic soulmate that we hear about all the time? Well, it just depends on how you define it.
There is no the one. I believe that we choose who the one will be. The problem with the whole idea of the soulmate and the one is like, this person's going to complete you, and they are going to somehow make up for all the issues that you have, that their perfection is going to make it so that it's okay that you're not perfect. And that's a very dangerous belief, because no one is perfect. Healthy thinking is, this person is perfect for me, even though they're not perfect.
And this is a really interesting tape because it kind of flips the whole notion of a soulmate on its head. It's not something that happens to you, not something that just appears and like whisks you away into this magical fantasy of being a soulmate. It's something that you're actually choosing for yourself. You choose who you love and you make it work. And I think a lot of us have been waiting for this person or people to just come into our lives and change things and just be like the other half that you're missing. That makes life make more sense, when in reality, life is more of an active process and you've got to put in the work to actually get that. And like, in terms of having a soulmate or a twin flame, in the stereotypical way that media has presented it, can and has been pretty dangerous rhetoric. It leaves the door open for abusive, manipulative, or toxic behavior. It allows for excuses like, sorry I cheated, babe. I know I hurt you, but I love you. Like, pack it up. That man is not your soulmate. He is your soul crusher. I think a great piece on this comes from the book All About Love by Bell Hooks, which I think is a staple. But in it, she's adamant about defining love, because in our society, we've let it have individual and personal and magical and mystical meanings, which make it easy to not be on the same page of what love is, and allows for things that are dangerous and are not love to be considered to be love under the vague definition. She argues that we should have a singular definition of what love is and isn't, and to see it as a verb, an action that we choose to do daily, instead of something that just happens to us. And last thing I want to talk about before we wrap up this video is the loss of the act of flirting. Like, we want to talk about why things are the way they are and why you're not finding your soulmate online. Is because, girl, we don't know how to flirt. We have the Riz app. It's a recipe that we've almost fully forgot how to do. And no, I promise you, you are a baddie. You are gorgeous. You are everything in that bag of chips, sweetie. But like, having pretty privilege, being pretty does not give you an excuse to not know how to flirt. I am sorry. I think all the energy has gone into copy and pasting at worst, or crafting yourself at best, an opening line to send people in hopes of a response. And that's not flirting, that's A/B testing. Flirting is more dynamic, more charismatic, shows you more about who you are as a person, while also building some kind of romantic or general tension. Connecting in conversation that feels witty, organic. And that's just something we don't see as much anymore. I think some of the comments under this TikTok really presents information in a good way. Whereas like, we want as much information about people as possible and don't really leave as much room for mystery, reading in between the lines, or taking action as an indication of character, which are the typical hallmarks of flirting. We want to be told what to think of someone rather than finding that out ourselves through conversation and through that sense of almost romance. It's almost like that difference between like instant gratification and delayed gratification in terms of like flirting and getting to know somebody. Like, truly, what happened to having fun? What happened to flirting? Like, we just don't read our phone and be giggling and kicking our feet like we used to no more. Like, it feels too sterile, too federal. We're losing recipes, people. But all in all, to wrap this video up, have people found partners online through dating apps and social media? Sure, yes. But like I've been saying before, this has increasingly become more so the exception than the rule for online dating, which is really disillusioning when you consider that all of these apps and tools should be making it easier, when in reality, they're actually not at all. It's definitely making access to having a texting pen pal or maybe a little hookup easier, but that's about it. From these sinister and deceptive paid apps to the lackluster socializing and not being honest with ourselves as to our role in dating and loving, as a generation, we've become rightfully disheartened with the concept of dating. But I must say, we can't give up hope, because our soulmates are out there. Hope is truly all we have. And if you are single, and a lot of your amazing friends that you love dearly are too, that must mean that there are also other wonderful people out there that you can go and connect with. They just likely aren't swiping on dating apps, if I'm being completely honest. So go outside, meet some people. And whatever you do, friend, do not get back on Hinge. Attention, my fellow Gen Z. I don't mean to alarm you, but our time is coming and we're going to be replaced. Hey guys, what's up? It's Emergency and welcome back to my channel. Today we are back and today we're talking about something interesting. Actually something that I haven't really put a lot of thought behind up until very recently, and now it's sort of giving me an existential crisis just a little bit. Just a little touch, a tad. And that is the fact that Gen Z is no longer the youngest generation on the internet right now. Shocker, I know, because in my mind I'm still a 23-year-old teenager, and I personally try and live my life as carefree and dainty and sort of rose-colored tinted naivete as I have been since like the start of the pandemic. And the fact of the matter is, there is a new generation on the internet right now. And that generation, if you're unfamiliar as I was as of a week ago, is called Gen Alpha. And that kind of eats, I'm not gonna lie. Gen Alpha really does sound like that girl. And I personally find the concept of generation so interesting because I feel like as of recently, generations have been such a cultural identifier in like the general discourse of the internet and just in real life. Thinking back way back when it was popular to use the whole okay boomer meme thing, sort of thing that kind of has gone out of style and is a little chug as of right now. It's millennials just being millennials, and now us as Gen Z really running the cultural and social discourses going on in the world right now. Like this has really been our limelight and will probably continue to be that way for at least the next 2 or 3 years. But you know, as time works, that time in the limelight will eventually move on, and that will move on to Gen Alpha. And in this video, we're gonna talk about exactly what is Gen Alpha, because as of right now, I don't know too much what the rise of this new generation means for previous generations, especially Gen Z, in terms of social media and the internet, brands and marketing, as well as a little bit of my predictions on how Gen Z and Gen Alpha are going to interact and possibly take over the world together, or burn it all down faster than it's already anticipated to. But before we do that, again, hi, I'm Rumi, and you're watching Emergency. Oh, it's been so long since I've said that. This is a series that I have on this channel where we talk about all things Gen Z, pop culture, and everything in the Gen Z zeitgeist. So if this sort of stuff sounds interesting to you, you can click that subscribe button so that you don't miss any uploads that I have on this channel. I also post about general pop culture commentary, TV show reviews, although I am on a little hiatus for that right now in support of the writers and SAG strikes going on, and sporadic tier lists and fashion videos as they come and go. Also, while you're at it, leave a like on this video because it helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm, and you can follow me on my socials here at imuRgency, where you can see me being a little bit of an it boy. I feel like I'm in my it boy era on social media, and that is honestly not up for debate. If you don't agree, you can go onto my social medias, follow first, and tell me otherwise, or you can just follow me otherwise and come along for the ride because I promise you it's a good time. That's Emergency on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. But let's actually get into this, shall we? So before we dig into what exactly Gen Alpha is and represents, let's take a minute to talk about Gen Z real quick. I feel like as of right now, Gen Z is the moment and is currently actively making its impact. Our generation spans from around people that are around 25 to 26 years old. Ooh, damn. The oldest Gen Z is 28, which is crazy to me. That's wild. Oh, I didn't like that. That gave me a little bit of a crisis. I do not like that this generation is almost pushing 30. Uncute. We have a range from around 28 to 14 years old is like Gen Z right now. And Gen Z honestly has been the king, queen, royalty of content and just entertainment on social media for the past arguably 3 to 4 years. Actually longer than that. I think I remember watching like a Tana Mojo video in like 2016, and she's definitely Gen Z from what I can remember. But actually, I don't know if that was necessarily prime time, because at that same time, Lily Singh and that era of YouTubers was definitely dominating the platform online for like the creator space. So honestly, I can't say like that was prime, but I feel like definitely now for like the past 3, 4, 5 years, Gen Z has taken a full market share. Come on, adult word. Ooh, of the social media and cultural landscape, and the rest of the world has really taken notice of that. Brands and companies specifically want to know and advertise to us. Like we are a lot of their main target segments, which is why we see so many ads, commercials, and collabs between Gen Z creators, Gen Z celebrities, and these different brands, as well as different commercials and stuff being sort of geared towards Gen Z, even though I have a whole video talking about how nothing is really written very well for Gen Z or marketed towards Gen Z as of right now. Things are getting slightly better, but they're trying. Certainly heavy on the try. Same thing for shows and movies, trying to tell Gen Z stories and trying to entertain us as a generation, because we are currently the target market. Restaurants, businesses, travel agencies all try to market towards Gen Z more so now by trying to sell experiences and individualized, personalized convenience on a lot of things, because those are things that Gen Z really prioritizes. We've clearly seen throughout the past 3 to 4 years, and how the work space has changed, partially due to the pandemic, but also because of Gen Z entering the workforce en masse, with work culture being a lot more lax and focused on the employee. Of course, this isn't a universal thing, and there's a lot of work still to be done, but compared to prior generations, things are leaning more towards things that Gen Z likes and will tolerate. Like, not to toot our own horn, because I can already feel the comments being like, y'all weren't the first ones to start this, we had this back in oh, I don't like that accent. I'm sorry. I am sorry to millennials, boomers, Gen Xers, whatever. I promise you this isn't a war, and I don't think you all sound like that. Actually, I don't think any of you sound like that. I just be trying shit sometimes. I'm sorry. I love you all dearly, I promise. But Gen Z really is that girl. We're changing the workplace, the culture, socially, politically, technologically, which makes it very interesting because it feels like all of this is so new, and we just got to this point to where it kind of sounds wild that there's a brand new generation that is literally on the internet to this day. And like I've been mentioning, this generation is Gen Alpha. And what exactly is Gen Alpha? Let's do a little research together, shall we? So apparently Gen Alpha includes those born from 2010 onwards and who have grown up in a fully digital world, which means that the oldest Gen Alpha right now would be 13 years old, which means that they're definitely on the internet. So if there's any Gen Alphas out there watching, how you doing, Stinka? Members of Gen Alpha rely on technology to help them discover the world. I mean, real, me too. As a result, they are not dependent on physical contact with their peers like previous generations. This is pretty interesting because I feel like there are like going to be two different sets, two different experiences of like Gen Alphas. Like the Gen Alphas that were born from like 2010 to 2020 are gonna have a completely different experience and outlook on life than the Gen Alpha babies that are born from like 2020 onwards, just because of the pandemic and how that changed everything. Like the pandemic babies are different. They're real different. Wait a second, Blue Ivy! Blue Ivy's a Gen Alpha! That's crazy. If Blue Ivy is a representation of what Gen Alpha is bringing, I am all here for it, because y'all see how she be eating in that concert. Side note, I'm going to Beyonce's concert in LA on her birthday, and I don't know if Blue's gonna be in school by then, but the clips of her get loose, get low, like she eats. If she is the Gen Alpha ambassador, I am here for it. I'm a stan already. Okay, let's see, what kind of technology is going to be the Gen Alpha way? So I have mobile devices being prevalent, virtual assistants, and AI, which makes sense since AI is becoming such a big thing now. Okay, but why Gen Alpha? Like, why? Gen Z was kind of cunt, but Gen Alpha just sounds really iconic. Where did that come from? So they're named after the start of the Greek alphabet because they ran out of letters, real. I don't know why they decided to start at like X, Y, then Z. That's crazy to me. So generations today span 15 years. Millennials from 1980 to 1994. Gen Z from 1995 to 2009. Gen Alpha from 2010 to 2024. So next year is the end of Gen Alpha, which is wild. And then Gen Beta. Gen Beta is from 2025 to 2039. I don't like those numbers being that high. That's really wild to me. That is increasingly wild to me. I will say Gen Beta kind of got the short end of the stick, because when you have a Gen Alpha and then a Gen Beta, what's next? Gen Omega? That's me. If after Beta is not Omega, that's gonna be really embarrassing for me. I am sorry, I do not know my Greek. But you know, I'm sounding real dumb right now, so we're gonna move right on. Okay, this is really interesting. But you know what would be fun? You know, like those graphics that they have for like each generation. I don't know if this is like common knowledge or just me, because I really love time and like generations and stuff like that. But like I remember when I was in like high school and like Gen Z was just starting to be a thing, being like, ooh, what's Gen Z gonna be like in the workplace? Me at 15 tuned in like, I don't know, what are we gonna be like in the workplace? They're usually really funny because they're laughably wrong, like especially when they try and capitalize on slang. Like the slang for those Gen Z documents were just so ugh. Like this one right here, learning Gen Z's language. Term slang, a force, unnecessarily excessive effort, bang 30s, to fight someone as in a physical altercation, beat your face, kick your face, apply makeup, bops, an enjoyable modern song, okay. Bowda, for real. This is something that needs to be noted. I'm about to. Bread, future, money. Catch these hands. Clap back, clapped, a crazy person, or someone who was just punched. Cracky, that sounds like a slur. Someone who jewels and smokes. Who is saying that? Who says that? Is that a real thing? Crossfade, doubly inebriated. I think crossed is the word for that. But these are just so unserious and so funny because I feel like there is definitely someone out there, someone in their 40s and 50s trying to relate with their Gen Z kid, like looking up these sayings, being like, oh, okay, son, I see you beat that phase. You wanna play some bobs? Let's make some bread cracky. Ooh, I love infographics so much. So let's get into this for Gen Alpha, shall we? Okay, Gen Alpha. What shaped them? Millennial parents. That's interesting. So Gen Alpha's parents are by and large millennials, which makes me very curious as to what that means. I guess what I've been seeing on TikTok is like a lot of like soft parenting or a lot of more intentional parenting, because I feel like millennials got the short end of the stick as far as just like parents go by and large, because a lot of them are like boomers who aren't known to be the most accepting people. So I guess passing that on to be like more accepting. Love that. Other labels for Gen Alpha includes the Alphas, okay, Generation Glass, I kind of hate that. U-Pagers, Uppagers, that also sounds like a slur, I'm not gonna say that one. Multimodals and Global Gen, those all are kind of ass. I think we'll stick with Gen Alpha, please and thank you. Top countries of birth, India, China, and Nigeria. Not really shocked because those all have pretty large populations. Top baby names, this is the most interesting. This is interesting for me. So apparently, for boy names, there are a lot of Olivers, Noahs, and Williams running around, which is very interesting because they're all very Caucasian names, even though that it's alleged that Gen Alpha is going to be the first generation that is not predominantly white. So I'm just like, how accurate is this exactly? And as for girl names, Charlotte, Amelia, and Olivia. So Oliver and Olivia, interesting, very interesting. If you're Gen Alpha and watching, are you any of these names? And if you are, say so in the comments below. Characteristics, they're global, they're digital, they're social, they're mobile, they're visual. This infographic is just really dramatic to me. I'm not making fun of Gen Alpha, it's just this infographic. It's just very broad because a lot can be said about Gen Z and millennials as well. Okay, this is interesting. Percent of the workforce in 2030. So in 7 years from now, 34% of Gen Z is gonna be in the workforce. In 2030, how old is the youngest Gen Z gonna be? If the youngest is born in 2009, they're gonna be 21. So in 2030, pretty much all of Gen Z is gonna be working, which is wild. But then 11% of Gen Alpha is going to be working in 2030, which means that the oldest is going to be 20. Real. Love that. This timeline's kind of funky, I don't know. In 2010, incoming technology was the iPad. Outgoing was MySpace. I never got the chance to partake in MySpace or really know what MySpace is outside of like the nostalgia factor of it that people seem to say. 2014, incoming technology was the Google Glass. Is that still a thing? Are people still using that? Like, did that actually take off? Like, I didn't, from my understanding, I thought that was a flop because I don't hear, it makes no noise. Like, I don't know anything about it. Apple Watch, incoming technology in 2017 being Fortnite is crazy. Yeah, things like the Apple Watch, 3D printers, AirPods, 5G, Fortnite. Like, oh my God. Fortnite is that girl from what I hear, but I didn't know it was that much of that girl where it could make the infographic. That's wild to me. 2022, in autonomous vehicles, out credit cards. I feel like people still by and large use cards for a lot of things as well, right? Like, I don't think that they're considered like out as of last year. It's interesting because why did the credit cards go out before wallets? Because this year apparently wallets are out. I feel like wallets will be out first. No, actually that's a lie. I feel like cash would be out first. I wonder why cash isn't here, because I feel like cash is very much out and cash has been out for a lot of years. This is not the point, Rumi. I don't know why we're getting into this. In 2024, there's aerial ride sharing. Is that a thing? Like there's like Uber for planes. I did see a TikTok about that. That's crazy. I saw like this one TikTok where like you could pay to be on like a smaller, it's like a private plane, but it's private with you and your 18 besties that you don't know to go to like a certain location. So it's like a more intimate flying experience. Or is this like the Uber helicopter? Because I did see that option once or twice. I don't know. This is very big. Infographic, mcgrindle.com. I need more information. I need you to provide more for me because I really am not understanding what's going on here. New jobs in 2024 is space tourism agent. There's space tourism agents next year? Like we're gonna see Elon Musk partner with aliens from a different dimension being like, okay, next business venture. For your next holiday, you can go to Mars. Like, oh, okay, all right. I'm not counting it out, because anything is possible. But next year, I'd like to see it. I wouldn't go, but I'd like to see it. But okay, enough of that. I feel like we've learned a little bit more about Gen Alpha and like what the values are. At the very least, we got to see a very fun infographic. Actually, let me see, what is Gen Alpha slang? Is there Gen Alpha slang yet?
No cap, you be mad sus.
I don't know about all that, but I do know that there are actually like Gen Alpha memes out now. And there was actually a headline on like a whole discourse like a couple weeks ago, where apparently some Gen Z were getting a little stressed out because they came to the realization that Gen Alpha is very much on the internet and have their own set of memes now that they don't understand at this point. And it's like sort of like a, oh, we're getting old sort of thing. Like there's this whole thing with the skibbity toilet on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, which has become very popular with Gen Alpha and it has its own lore and things like that. Some people are calling it, it's like this really creepy head coming out of the toilet. And people have done with it what they do with most most things on the internet and have memed the shit out of it, with some calling it Gen Alpha's version of Slenderman. And it's just wild because for a lot of Gen Z, this is like a reminder that we are not the youngest people on the internet, which actually comes with a lot more than just feeling old. But like I've said earlier in this video, Gen Z has been for the past couple of years the main target demographic for literally everything online, or most things online, let me be real. But as time moves on, Gen Z is going to eventually age out of the target demographic, meaning the most relevant group of people that the world has their eyes on. Just as the early 2000s to around 2016 era was the millennials' prime time, with things like BuzzFeed and Vine really taking precedent, having creators come from that era really blow up and be mainstream. This is kind of ours, and like they did, their prime time will fade. Not saying that everyone in Gen Z is going to become irrelevant, because that's just not the case. But in terms of like shows, TV, media, businesses, and different brands, a lot of their messaging and their target focus will shift on to Gen Alpha, being the newest batch of people that they can entertain and essentially get money out of. Because while the oldest Gen Alpha right now are in their like tween stages and are pretty much relying on their parents' money, in the next couple of years, they're going to be teenagers to young adults who have their own source of money that people can market towards. And this is going to be especially interesting considering how the generational differences for Gen Alpha are, with the majority of them growing up around short form content, meaning that the attention economy for the majority of Gen Alpha is going to be shorter than in previous generations, because at least for Gen Z, we had a transition between long form content to short form content. While short form like shorts, TikToks, Reels, and all of that are really popular now and have become like the biggest thing, long form content like videos like this have sort of become more of like the traditional media, basically what TV used to be. Like I bet right now you're probably watching this video while you're doing something else, or you're just chilling on your couch or your bed watching this like you would have done TV back when TV was popping like that. Sorry, didn't mean to break the fourth wall there. Have ya? But for a generation that has grown up around short form content, and for whatever is going to come next, whether that be VR, AR, AI, any of those two-letter words, it's gonna be interesting to see how different brands and companies will shift how they really try and get money out of this generation, because it's going to be different than how it is for us and how it has been for previous other generations as well. And when we're talking about intergenerations, let's talk about the elephant in the room. What's tea between Gen Z and Gen Alpha? Personally, in my opinion, I feel like Gen Z and Gen Alpha are going to be the closest to generations, because a lot of the life experiences between the two groups as of right now are so similar. Of course, things may change with time, but I feel like in comparison to Gen Z and millennials, they're just more so in common in terms of like technological knowledge and memes and cultural events that would keep the two generations closer. I also feel like Gen Z is more likely to keep up with things that are going on technologically, as opposed to previous generations that are just like, oh, that's young people's business. They gotta figure that out. I feel like Gen Z will be more likely to hop on whatever is the next new thing and making more of a point to stay current and stay in the know. So I'm really interested to see how this all plays out, because I feel like this is such new territory, and personally, I love all things history, things to do with generations, things to do with time pass, because time pass is one of my biggest fears. And one thing about me, if I'm scared of it, I'm gonna learn everything about it. And I also feel like this brings up a really great conversation around between aging in Gen Z and Gen Z's relationship with aging. That might have to be another video in and of itself, because this video is getting a little long already. Let me know if you want to see a video talking about that. If you're part of Gen Z, how do you feel about the rise of Gen Alpha, as well as not being the youngest people on the internet anymore? If you're a millennial or older, what do you think about all this, or do you even care at this point? And if you're actually part of Gen Alpha yourself, or if you have a Gen Alpha sibling or child, let me know your thoughts and predictions on how things are going to go in the future. But other than that, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Again, if you're new to the channel and like content like this, make sure to subscribe, leave a like on this video, and to follow me on my socials here at imergency. But other than that, y'all, I've been Emergency, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.